Do books, 16th century, joined two volumes back to back, the spine of one meeting the foredge of the other, a useful, though rare, structure for keeping multi-volume works together. And a handful of heart-shaped or cordiform books, 14th and 15th centuries, a book of hours, a collection of ballads, and a volume of love songs, took advantage of the symmetrical opening of the codex to make the work's form suit its content. Devotion. Most important of all, this period gave rise to that feature we most associate with the book: print. When the codex moved beyond the monastery, notions of authorship gradually changed as well, since monastic scribes were not seen as originators of the ideas they put on the page, but workmen transcribing cultural knowledge. With the rise of universities and humanist inquiry into Latin and Greek literature and rhetoric, a picture of the author as an originator began to take shape. This shift, coupled with mechanization, would prove instrumental to reframing the book as content rather than object, its form a mere vessel for the information it contained. Starting the presses. As codex books became private items rather than shared objects experienced publicly, copyists simply couldn't keep up with the demand. Woodblock printing, which appears to have developed in the West to produce playing cards, initially met some of the needs of readers. Block books, composed of religious images with captions, served a devotional audience through the 15th century. Much as in China, whose xylographic printing techniques predate these and are discussed in Chapter 1, a folio could be printed from a relief, with both image and text carved into wood. The woodcut technique used to produce block books played an important role in both influencing and illustrating books produced with the print technology that would set the standard and remain largely unchanged through the 20th century: movable type. When you think of early books, chances are the name Johannes Gutenberg comes to mind. One of the few celebrities in the history of the book, his name has become synonymous with the invention of the printing press and with the production of a 42-line Bible that has been widely exhibited and praised as the first Western book printed with movable type. Despite the ubiquity of squares and statues dedicated to him across Germany, a 1952 U.S. postage stamp celebrating his achievements, numerous engravings of him, none of them verifiable portraits, and an initiative to digitize the world's public domain books that bears his name, Gutenberg almost didn't get the credit for the innovations that made that feat possible. Much of what we know about Gutenberg's work comes from the accounts of a 1455 trial with Johann Fust, the press's financier, whose 2,026 gulden investment, including interest, Gutenberg failed to repay. As a result of this suit, Gutenberg was forced to forfeit his print shop, retaining only the work and equipment he had completed before 1448, when the loan was made. Fust and his son-in-law, Peter Schoeffer, who had served as Gutenberg's assistant, took control of his shop, half of the completed Bibles, and much of the credit for the printing press itself, and Gutenberg died 12 years later, never having profited from his invention or his clean, standardized Bible. Gutenberg's celebrity is all the more improbable, given that he did not write a word of text, design it, or print his name in the completed codex. To make printing possible, Gutenberg had to develop a wooden screw press based on those used for olive oil and wine, movable type created from molds, and an oil-based ink that could adhere to metal. Though popularly considered the inventor of printing, many of the technologies Gutenberg used were already in existence by the time he set up shop. His great achievement lay in bringing these technologies together, perfecting them, and persuading others to fund his vision. What little we know of Gutenberg's life establishes him as an enterprising young man from early on. Born around 1400 into a wealthy family in Mainz, Germany, he lived for a time in Strasbourg, where his ventures included gem polishing, producing and selling mirrors to pilgrims, and perhaps beginning work on type and the press. In 1448, Gutenberg returned to Mainz, and soon thereafter convinced Fust to invest in his newest scheme: printing. For the next 7 years, he worked to develop typecasting and printing techniques that would endure for centuries.